So this is a tutorial on how to add LED lights so when you step on the panel they light up. So first you have to unscrew all of the panels except for this one, I think. But you can unscrew them all, and you don't have to unscrew the middle. So do that, it's really easy, and then we will pick it back up. So this is the L-TEK EX2 Pro, I believe, with the start and select buttons added on. And there is, like, on the dead panels, the non-active panels, it is higher to like simulate arcade. But you can actually make them flat. We will show you. So this is one of the non-functioning panels, like a corner panel. There is a thin like piece of cardboard to like offset it so it's up higher, but you can just take that out and then it is like it's level with the arrows. So if you want maximum flatness, you can totally do that. So this is the top right panel with the start and select buttons. This also has the cardboard on it, but this one here is cut out for the start and select sensors. On this one, we took it out, but if you just step on like this area, it was like flexing toward the button because it wasn't high enough. So I'm going to try to cut out like just this area here to make it higher so it won't accidentally get like pressed down flexing. So this is the pad with all of the panels taken off. In the where the 4 arrows are is the sensors, and then you have, this is the start and then the select, and then this here is the like motherboard chip. We got the USB, and then all of the cables are routed here. And then this one here goes down to there, and then it goes farther down there. So that one has nothing on it, so if you don't want to take it off, it doesn't really matter, it's just screwed on. So we are going to be adding the LEDs, and we're going to route the wire through here already, so, because if it's not routed through here, it's not going to be flat when you put your panel back on. So, unless you cut more channels, I guess you could do that. The wires are pretty small, and the channel's not very big, so we would recommend smaller than 18 gauge because we have 18 gauge and it is pretty tight to fit it in here. We just couldn't find like smaller when we like went to the store. But if you go online, you can definitely find a smaller wire. So we're gonna solder everything, but I have heard you can just use electrical tape. But you would have to probably solder the connection onto the board. Yeah, I don't know how you could. I mean, maybe you could use electrical tape onto the board, but I would use a soldering iron. If you don't know how to use a soldering iron, you can. There's plenty of tutorials online how to do that, or you can ask like a friend or somebody that can help you, because you only need to use it just a couple of times. So if somebody knows what they're doing, then it will be easy. We are not electricians. We are not electronic hobbyists, like getting into there. So we're just following a tutorial from user Honor the Kid on Reddit, and then I'm just making like a clearer video so it's easier to see. So we're trying to measure out how much wire we need to go from each pad from about like here, because we're going to need to have one wire going to if I can point it out.
I'll point it out.
Okay.
It'll connect right there.
To the first one. That's the 5-volt source that's coming from the USB. So we need one to connect there, and then we're gonna splice 4 separate ones that connect to that one. So each one of the 4 will go to a panel. So just kind of run it along the, whatever you call it.
Always cut a little extra because you can always take some away.
Yeah, leave extra because if you don't, you'll be short, and then you have to cut up another big long strand. It doesn't have to be exact, just like, you know, put it in there, leave a couple inches just in case. Okay, so the small one is going to go directly from the board, and then to there it's going to connect to 4 of these wires, and each one of those are going to go to one sensor. So you're just going to want to like twist them all together. And then we're using a DIY setup, but it works fine. So this is where some people would use like electrical tape and just wrap it up. But we're actually going to use a soldering iron just to make sure, because I mean, the pad was expensive, so if you're gonna mod it, you might as well do it right. But if you don't have access to that, it's okay to use whatever you can to get it done for what you want to do. Sorry, it's okay. Okay, that's where we're not gonna cut the thing good. Okay, so we got it soldered, DIY home job. We have heat shrink, but the ones that we have are not big enough to go over the very large clump of wires, so we have to use electrical tape for this part. So if you wanted to, you don't even have to solder it, you could just use electrical tape, but we're just going at it. Okay, so this one here is going to connect there, and then all of these wires are going to connect to the sensors. This is the hot wire. This one has the 5-volt power, and then these little black ones are going to be connecting to the ground. So they don't have to be long because it's just going to attach here and then to the LED strip. But just make them longer just in case, you know, just in case. So if you want the lights on all the time when you're playing, we're gonna connect them to here, this one, where the red one here goes. But if you only want them on like when you step on the panel, like at like arcade or whatever, we're gonna connect them to this one. And we are going to connect them to this one in this tutorial, but it would be the same thing, you would just connect them to here. So these are the LED strips we're going to be using. I will link them into the description, but they're USB. So, I mean, I could plug it in and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I plugged them in. They're very bright. There are a lot of LEDs here, so when they're in the panel, you can't really see each bulb individually. I mean, if you look hard enough, you can, but they kind of have like, hold on. They're like, have like a rubberized on the outside of them, so I guess they won't get damaged. But these ones, you can cut them to whatever length, so you're gonna cut them on that line, and then it's marked the 5-volt and the ground. So what we're going to do is start on the end and then measure around the square of the pad and then cut them to length, because you can just directly connect them to the copper here on the lights. You can also connect them here. This is where the USB cable connects to them. You would just like cut them off somewhere, and they have a red and a black, ground and hot. So the black is ground, the red is hot, and you can splice it that way. We did that on 2 of them here, and then the other 2 arrows are with just direct wiring. I'll show you. Okay, so this is what it will look like at the end. This here, you can't really see it, but it's directly connected to the strip. On this one here, we connected it to the USB here. But we're just gonna go from the end, so then you have like extra if you want to use this for something else. You already have the USB connector. So just measure out roughly your square. These LEDs, they kind of don't want to go at like a 90 degree because of the rubberize on it, but we can make them turn and they're still okay. So just kind of measure it out and then make sure you cut on that line wherever the thing is, because if you don't, you're gonna like mess it up. So then I guess once you do one, all of them will be the same. So once you cut one, you just line up the other strip and then cut it the same, as long as it's still on the cut line. And if you're doing multiple colors, like if you're doing 2 colors, top, bottom, and then left and right, make sure you pull up what you want so you don't accidentally put it in the wrong spot. You can move the panels around, but if you did want them a certain way, make sure you put them on the right one. So you're going to take the black wire, the small one, which is going to connect to the ground. So you want to make sure it's on the ground little pill shape there. The connection. And we're going to solder them on. This is very small, so you just gotta like be patient. So after you get the one on, then you just do the same with the other one. If you already made the bundle like this, make sure that it is the one that will reach whatever color you want. So we're going to do this down arrow one here, which would be the longest wire. So we just took the longest one and then we're connecting it to this one here. So we got the black on the ground and the red on the 5 volt, and then we're going to hot glue on top of it because these are very fragile. And then wait for that to cool, and then, yeah, just do that 3 more times. All of our wires are connected to the lights. One goes on each panel. So now we're going to connect. All of them are spliced into one wire, and then that one wire is going to go on that one there, the one on the bottom of the 4. You can either do this part first and then connect all these. We just connected these first, and then we're going to connect that one. This is all unplugged, so it's okay. So this is very small, so again, just like these other ones, just be patient and you will get it. So it's connected and it is not touching the other ones on there, so that's good. So then this will be tucked into here, and then all of the wires are going to go through the channels, and then we are going to make them go in a square, and then we're going to put the ground on there. So we're going to connect black wire to the ground, and which is already, the panel's already grounded by that other black wire coming out, which is touching that metal rectangle. So we're just going to add on to that right there. Nice. So this here, it's stuck on there. So okay, so before we actually like routed the wires, we did add the ground, and then just to make sure that it worked before we had it going. So yep, we got blue, pink, which is like stock. So yep, now we just gotta run the cords through the channel, and then lay the LEDs in their proper place. The stock wires will already be kind of glued in. If you're using smaller than 18 gauge, you probably won't have a problem, but our wires are kind of thick just because we didn't have like small, so we are gonna pull them out, smooth out the glue inside there, and then relay the wires and then glue over that so they don't come out. So after you've gotten all your wires routed, it's a lot easier if you use smaller than 18 gauge because it was a pain trying to fit two like down there. But after you got that, these are already measured out to size for your square. So these ones here have adhesive on the back. Just pull it off. If it's not sticky enough, you can use double-sided tape, or we're gonna hot glue each of the corners down to make sure that they don't fly away, because these LED lights do not like to be turned 90 degrees. So we're gonna kind of force them to turn. So just go along the edge.
Don't leave it under this wire.
No, it's fine.
Excuse me.
Yep, and then there you go. And then we'll probably just put like a glob underneath each little corner just to make sure they don't unstick down the line. And then just do that for all four. So after everything is done, when you step on them, they will light up. And then after that, you just put the, if you want the cardboard on the inactive panels, you can put that back on. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it on. I am going to figure out this. If you don't have the start and select buttons, you'll have no problem making this one also flat. But just because when you're stepping on it, because this here is like almost flush, so you don't want to accidentally pause your game while you're playing. So yep, we'll close it back up and then take a look at it. So here it is all done with the panels back on. It's daylight, so it's kind of hard to see, but I don't know why it shows up that they're dark blue, but it is lighting up lighter blue. In the nighttime, I'll put in a video that I took of this one. You can definitely tell. So sick. So pretty cool. I will have another video on penny modding with copper chips or copper shims. This is our homemade bar setup. If you want a tutorial on this, I can make one. It's definitely not casual friendly on how we made these, but if anybody is interested, I will try my best to make it up. So yep. So with these lights, when you step on one and then you step on the other, if you can see it, they'll dim slightly. It's not as drastic as it looks in the video, but they will dim, and then they will continue to keep dimming after every, like if you press on all, like 3, it'll get dim, and if you press on 4, it will get dimmer. They'll still be on, and it'll still work. It's just that it's just getting less power because it has to go, it has to light up more. You know what I'm saying? So, it still looks cool, so it's definitely amazing. Thank you for watching the video, this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will link everything in the description. Yep. Thank you.